Now, in a sporting sense, there's not that many people who have felt the magnitude of this sort of pressure. So what can we learn from Alvaro Morata? Everyone, welcome to another vlog, and it's raining a lot. And that's because we're going to see Italy versus Spain at the European Championships. And I'm going to talk in this vlog about mentality, about pressure. I've spoken about it recently in my racing videos, and in the context of one of the biggest football matches of the last few years, we're going to talk about pressure, we're going to talk about mentality. But first of all, a few tips about if you go to football in England. Always prepare for rain, always prepare for it to be cold, and always prepare to queue. Those are my tips as someone who has spent the last few years going to West Ham every couple of weeks. But yes, hope you enjoy the video. Do make sure to like, subscribe, all of that good stuff if you do. Massively helps the channel, and I really appreciate it. We made it to the stadium, and let's talk about pressure, let's talk about mentality. That's why I'm making this video, because I believe that dealing with pressure and having that mentality where you feed on pressure situations is what makes the difference between someone who's good at a sport, good at driving, and someone who's truly great. And I know that I've raced against a lot of people, both on sim racing and in the real world, who just seem to raise to the occasion every time. And I think I maybe have a bit of an element of that myself. Usually I'm streaming when I sim race, sometimes to hundreds of people. And I have found that sometimes I've been able to feed off that pressure and get to another level of consistency. An example is the 8-hour solo stint I did at Hockenheim for charity and iRacing, whilst lapping within a couple of attempts. So much pressure on me that race, I felt like, to do a good job for charity, to not mess up, to not crash a car, and I actually had the best stint of my life. We're here at Wembley. We're going to see now a football semi-final between Italy and Spain, and we're going to see some of the best technically able, some of the most talented players in the world. Basically, quite a few of the most talented players in the world. They've come this far in the European Championship, duke it out on such a pressured stage, because no one wants to go out at a semi-final. No one wants to be that team that loses on penalties, loses extra time. So we're going to see, how do these players deal with the pressure? And if it does go to penalties, I'm sure we're going to see some players who are so technically gifted, who can score in training from the penalty spot every time. I'm sure we're going to see a few miss their penalties. And that, I believe, is pressure. So let's see. And let me know in the comments, how do you deal with pressure? Do you feel like you're someone who maybe doesn't do so well in qualifying, but when it comes to the race you perform at a higher level? Are you someone that qualifies well, time trials well, but when it comes to the race you know, sometimes don't go forward from your qualifying position, sometimes you go backwards? Let me know. I'm really interested to see what people feel about pressure. It's something we don't really talk about in motorsport. I feel like it's just this component of performance that is so critical. Because obviously you have to have the underlying technique. You also need to know what you're going to do at the track. So when you're going to brake, when you're going to throttle, what apexes you're going to hit and things like that. But, you know, it's just absolutely crazy. We don't talk about it enough. So let's see what happens. So for the purpose of this video, and as a specific thing to do watching the match, I decided to look at Alvaro Morata. And if you don't know who Alvaro Morata is, he should be a global superstar. Put some stats up on screen for you. He's played for Real Madrid twice, Juventus twice, Chelsea, Atletico Madrid. He has the technical abilities to be probably the best player in the world. His CV is basically one of the best in world football. And he's going to go up today against his old teammates at Juventus, the Wiley, Bonucci and Chiellini. But Alvaro Morata seems to have a mentality issue. It's well documented. He's never quite reached his potential. So let's see how he does in this huge game. So yeah, Morata came on and he scored. He scored one of the biggest goals he will have ever scored in his career. He keeps his country in the tournament. They were 10 minutes from going out. It is a huge goal. And when he came on, he was looking busy. He was getting involved, demanding the ball, going on dribbles. Good stuff. But I looked at his body language as the game went on, and we went to extra time here. This is in the extra time period, so we're getting very close to penalties, just 1 minute away. And I was looking at his body language, and everything started to drop for him. You can see here, as basically they're going to be choosing penalty takers now. This footage is really quite startling. You know, this is a striker who's got their whole country back in the tournament, and he looks on the periphery here. He there's no one really around him. He's not in a huddle or anything. You know, the manager in the jumper there, Luis Enrique, is going around looking for penalty takers. He's saying, do you want to take one? Do you want to take one? He's going to go to Morata now. Morata, do you want to take one? I mean, it doesn't really look convincing, you know? Why Luis Enrique's got a tactics board out for the penalty shot, I don't know. But I thought he managed his team superbly. But if you look at the body language of Morata here, you know, we looked at his CV. There's not many players who have ever had a CV like he's had in world football. He's just scored. He should be the hero right now. Someone should be around him telling him, look, mate, it doesn't matter. Go out there, hit your penalty. And I didn't see anyone do that to him. Look at the way he's kind of rubbing his hair. Look at the way his body language, it doesn't seem positive. And I didn't have any confidence that he was going to score his penalty. And I felt like it was destiny. His penalty would come at a moment where it would be intense, incredible pressure on him. I felt bad for him. I really felt bad for him. I felt like his teammates, the staff, could have taken him to one side and helped him here. And I don't feel like anyone did, and I was watching this the whole way through. So when it comes to dealing with pressure, you know, something I've realised from this is if you recognise your teammates under pressure, help them out. Because at this moment in time, there's probably no other player in the world in any sport who's under the pressure Morata is in. And let's see what happens. I'm going to pause it because I'm mean like that. And I came up with an equation to try and quantify what I feel about pressure, and it's performance equals technical ability times pressure. And by times pressure, I mean that pressure can be a multiplier. So let's say you're unaffected by pressure completely, pressure would be 1. And if you're badly affected by pressure, it'd be 0 point something. And if you feed on pressure, it's 1 point something. Let me know in the comments what you think about that equation. I think it works. But let's have a look at the penalty. If you haven't seen this, it's tough to watch. But like I said, I never felt like he was going to score this penalty. And I felt like he was under so much pressure, it must have hindered his natural technical ability, which is not in question, not in doubt. He's one of the best technical players in the world, and his subconscious process of kicking a football from 12 yards, you know, is perfection. Something has gotten in the way of that natural subconscious process, and I felt like he needed someone external to help him there. This is the end of the match. Italy have just scored the penalty. I was looking for Morata, and actually he was the only player to leave the pitch, which I also thought was pretty surprising, and I feel really bad for him. You know, as a young man, 28 years old, you know, I'm a similar age to Morata, and he's had to deal with a lot there. But yeah, another vlog talking about pressure. Let me know what you think. I really want to know what you think about pressure, what you think about how to manage pressure, how to get into a state where you feed off it. Because I do think it is a big component. It does affect us when we're trying to perform. See you next time.